Hello everyone, welcome back to the Odds Now YouTube channel for your daily rundown of the upcoming action from the 2026 PDC World Championship with me, Matt Hill. It's day 7, I think, maybe day 8 actually, losing track a little bit. But we're coming towards the end of round 1. We've only got a couple of days of round 1 action left to go. And we are back up to the full complement of 8 games on Thursday after just an evening session on Wednesday. I'm speaking an hour or so after the action concluded on Wednesday. A little bit of an underwhelming evening. Very small profit on the evening for me. There was only 2 bets and a 1-point double. Martin Schindler obliged at 17-10. Backed him for over 3.5 180s and minus 1.5 sets against Stephen Burton. He won 3-1 with 7 180s, I think. So comfortable winner. The frustrating one was the other one, wasn't it? Belmont Barneveld. I made the case for Belmont. Watching back what I said. I said I was, felt Belmont had been underestimated in the market, but tried to play it a bit clever. Back the over 3.5 sets. Belmont went and win 3-0. So, that stings a little bit. Maybe overcomplicated things there. Trying to be safe. Should have just leaned into Belmont on the handicap lines in hindsight, but it's what it is. It wasn't a dreadful performance from Van Barneveld, but when you consider the heights he scaled previously in his career, you wonder how much longer he wants to be messing around in round 1, getting beat 3-0 off the likes of Stefan Belmont, really. Not to take anything away from Belmont, who's actually a player I do rate, and I was pleased to see him do well, but I don't know. Just seems like a crossroads for Barney as to where he goes next, I suppose. 5.4 returned points from 5-point stake, so we'll never complain at profit, even though it is just sort of that repeated theme of just sort of treading water at the moment for me in this tournament, but better than losing in it, so we'll take it and move on. Anyway, Thursday, 8 matches to rattle through, so let's get going then. Callan Rydz versus Patrick Kovacs. I think there's a bet here. I think it's Callan Rydz 3-0. I backed it last week at 11-8. If we ignore the Unibet feed as always, that's now odds on, but I still make that a bet, to be honest. I think it's nigh on evens with Betfred, isn't it, 20-21. I think I'd be very surprised if Rydz doesn't win this 3-0. And that is not necessarily an endorsement of Callan Rydz, who I think, could look at his World Championship record. Very, very good. 2 quarterfinal runs in the last 4 years. That said, I'm not doing this because I'm necessarily pro Rydz as such. I just think Kovacs... I don't think Hungary should have a qualifier for the World Championship yet, is my honest opinion. I don't think there's enough depth in that country to justify a Hungarian qualifier. It's rare we see a Hungarian on the European Tour, never mind the World Championship. I know they're trying to grow the game and there's a decent amount of interest in Hungary, but I just don't see the consistent quality there at the moment. I think they should be tagged in with a couple of other nations to make it a slightly more competitive qualifier. But, the PDC is still feeling things out with this 128-player format. And Patrick Kovacs turned up, did what he had to do, won the qualifier. Fair play to him. Seen a little bit of him on the European Tour. He's a steady player, but he's probably one of the better draws you could have got in the first round. He might make me eat humble pie, who knows? But when I saw this game, I thought, that's a great draw for Rydz. And then you only add in that Rydz clearly sort of saves his best stuff for the World Championship. Great run last year to the quarterfinals. Very unlucky not to take Michael van Gerwen to a last set. Both players up averaging over a ton over such a long game. This tournament brings the best out of Rydz, and it just shows how good a player he is and can be. We just don't see it enough consistently throughout the year, but here something seems to click for him. The crowd love him. He's quick. He's very aesthetically pleasing to watch. So, there's a lot to like about this bet. I think that just under evens, 20-21 with Betfred, Star Sports, etc. on the 3-0 Rydz win looks a very simple way of playing that opening match. Game 2, Thibault Tricole versus Motomu Sakai. I'm going to back Sakai here, 7-4. There's money coming for him, and I totally see why. I didn't get involved with this game initially when the prices came out because I wanted to show Tricole some respect. He wasn't the first French tour card holder because Jacques Labre beat him by a year, but he's clearly the best French darts player that we've ever seen. And, he's made some good waves in his time in the PDC, some good TV wins, including here last year at the World Championship, winning his first game. And, just generally a player that is very easy to overlook, but he can quite comfortably average in the sort of low to mid-90s and make it look fairly routine. He does also have a lower B game, I think, and he is opposable. He's one of these players, I've mentioned him a few times this week, that when he's an underdog, I don't mind getting with him, but when he's a big favourite, maybe want to take him on. But I just held fire, wanted to see how this market moved. Now there's a move coming for Sakai. And I just want to be a part of it. It's 7-4. I think it's right. I think he does offer a smidge of value. Obviously, they never quite know with the Asian players how they're going to settle. We saw Ryuzi Asamoto this evening against James Wade just get completely outclassed. And Asamoto is one of the better players on the Asian tour. But he definitely has the look of someone who's a better floor player than he is a stage player. Whereas Sakai, if you've not seen anything of this guy, you'll enjoy him. He's a bit of an eccentric character. He looks like he's not been to a barber's in about 3 years. He comes on some pretty funky music and dances around. Yeah, he's a character, but he can play. He won back-to-back Asian Tour events in Mongolia when all the big hitters were there to play, and he beat Manlok Lung in the final of one of them 5-3, averaging like 97, 98. I think he's finished third on the Asian Tour Order of Merit this year, which is very, very good. And he clearly has a high level in him. So it feels to me like a player that the crowd will take to because he's just a little bit quirky, eccentric. And I think if he settles in, he'll make this really, really close with Tricole. Could well beat him. So I think just take a bit of the 7-4 on Sakai. And I think at the prices, he's worth a go. Third match of the afternoon. It's a no-bet game for me, but it's an interesting one. Ryan Joyce versus Owen Bates, because I think Ryan Joyce is absolutely rock solid. Like, I can't speak highly enough of Ryan Joyce. The closest man to beat Luke Littler last year, lest we forget as well, like really pushed him all the way to a last set and just did Joyce things, really. Got outscored, but took all his chances, rock solid on the doubles. And he's just a very likeable guy, isn't he, really? Like, just doesn't have the flashy scores, just turns up, plays fantastic darts, really, really solid. I think anyone who doubles as well as he does under pressure, you can't help but admire it. He plays Owen Bates here. He's a young lad who I thought would have kicked on more than he has at this point. He's definitely got a lot of talent, Owen Bates. Looks like he's going to lose his tour card. I've no doubt he'll go and get it back. And, we've seen a few players over the years, Schindler, who played tonight, was definitely one of them. Got his card, did naff all in his first couple of years, lost it, and he had to go away and get it again to then start showing his best on the Pro Tour. And I think it'll be a similar trajectory for Bates. I think he's a player that he'll go away for a little bit, come back as a better version of himself. And this is a lad who I think in the future could be winning Pro Tour events. I do think he's got that in him. He's had some great one-off wins in his 2 years as a card holder, but not enough runs, and that's why he finds himself set to lose his card here. But I do think he's got a good A game, and I think it might just feel like a free shot for Bates here. And I could see the case for taking a chance on him at 5-2. Sadly, from my own perspective, I just can't oppose Joyce. I don't like opposing Joyce, even against the top players. I never feel comfortable taking on Ryan Joyce, really. And his recent record in round one of events is pretty immaculate. Good, solid World Championship record as well. He's had runs here a couple of times. So I totally get why people would want to be with Bates, but I just like Joyce. I really, really like Joyce. So I'm going to leave this as a no-bet game and enjoy watching it, I think. Final game of the afternoon, and this is probably the story of the tournament, isn't it? The first East African to appear at the World Championship, Kenya's David Munyua. I think a lot of us thought that it was going to be a different Kenyan appearing here this year. Peter Waituri, who became a bit of a cult hero when he missed the dart to qualify for last year's Ali Pali. Lost 8-7 in the final of the African qualifier to Cameron Carillison of South Africa. But Munyua was a surprise winner of this year's qualifier. His numbers weren't that impressive. We're talking like a mid-80s average player here, but he does have levels in him. He's averaged 87, I think, in his final to get here. 87 over 14 legs could win a World Championship round one match. It's done many, many a time. On paper, he's got tough to draw against Mike De Decker. Mike De Decker is 1-300 in places, so you can see what kind of game is in store here or expected to be in store. I guess the question is, do we see Munyua potentially winning a set or not? Well, De Decker to win this 3-0 is 1-8. What's the best genuine price you're finding? 1-6. Do I want to back Mike De Decker to beat anyone 3-0 at 1-6? Absolutely not. Not a reliable player at all. That would scare me, backing Mike De Decker. To win a set, Munyua over 3.5 sets is 5-1. Am I tempted enough by the 5-1? Probably not. I'd love to see him win a set, but when your player's sort of best level is the mid-80s, you're looking at slips, and a lot of slips from someone of Mike De Decker's quality. Definitely see De Decker dropping legs. I don't think this will be 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. I think Munyua will get a couple of legs. I'm just not sure he's going to be enough to win a set. So I wouldn't back to Decker 3-0 at the prices, but I'm also not confident enough to put money up at 5-1 to win a set. I think there's a class gap. Really, Decker has had a stinker here if he does drop a set, but he is capable. So we'll just leave that match and watch it and probably cheer on Munyua. It's great to see an East African. And from watching the interviews with him, it seems that the popularity of darts in Kenya in particular is growing rapidly. So I think we'll see more and more Africans coming over. And I look forward to seeing how he gets on. On to the evening session, then Jermaine Wattimena versus Dominik Gruellich. I think I've talked myself into taking a stance on Dominik Gruellich here. There's just so much money for Wattimena. And that's fine because he's been a fantastic player over the last sort of year and a half. You could make a case for him being valued to win this quarter 4, which is the section with MVG, Anderson, Rock. I mean, he's definitely been slept on a little bit in that market, I think. But in terms of this as a one-off game, this could be awkward for Jermaine. If you haven't seen Dominik Gruellich play before, he's quite a slow, methodical player, but he's good. He is steady, particularly on the floor. He's been really impressive, and that's the big question here. Can he take that to the big stage? He made a Pro Tour final earlier this year, 500-1. I backed him each way, and he got hammered off Johnny Clayton in the final, unfortunately. But it was still a lovely cash, obviously, on the place. But yeah, I've been following Gruellich very closely all year because I do think he's got a really good A game, and he's taken some great scalps on the floor. I must say his form has tailed off a little bit towards the back end of the year. But like I said, this methodical style, and he's always in legs. He's got a 180 in him. I just think he's getting to a big price here, Dominik Gruellich. One of the reasons he's a slow thrower is because he had really bad dartitis in his early years. And he's still a youngster now, really. But the dartitis has obviously changed his throw, but it hasn't changed the effectiveness of it. He's got through it. Doesn't suffer with it now. And I think this is a very interesting matchup in terms of styles here. So Wattimena's been well back to win this 3-0, and I'm happy to take a stance against that, really. I quite fancy Gruellich to win a set here. So we could back him on the handicap at 8-11 to win a set. I don't see a world where, and I said this about Belmont, but I definitely don't see a world where Wattimena gets beat 3-0. So I'm going to back total sets over 3.5 at 5-6. That is available with BetVictor. It's drifted in other places as well, so it may well get there with 365. And like Sky Bet are also 5-6, by the way. So Sky Bet or BetVictor 5-6. I'm probably going to have 1.5 points on that, and I'm going to chuck half point on Gruellich at 5-1, just in case Wattimena finds himself getting embroiled. I think he's experienced enough to work his way through it, but 5-1 just looks a tad big on Gruellich to me. That's available with Sporting Index, and I'd probably still back it at 9-2, although both exchanges, Betfair Matchbooks, BetDAC would be the same. It'd be over 5 on there, minus the commission. You're effectively getting 5-1, and I think that's worth a go for half a point. Could be a more interesting game than the market thinks. Okay, 3 to go then. Queen of the Palace returns here, Fallon Sherrock. She's 4-1 to beat Dave Chisnall. I'll keep this very simple. I think you've got to back Sherrock at 4-1. Chizzy's not had a great year. I went to watch Chizzy at an exhibition locally recently and had a really good crack with him. And you can't not like the guy, top bloke, but he did sort of say, by his own admission, his year's been pretty crap. And he's like, I asked him if it bothered him playing Fallon, and he said, "Don't bother me playing Fallon. It just bothers me how I'm playing, really, and it just depends on the day." And I think when you add in the mitigating factors around this game with Sherrock, and yes, her recent Ali Pali record hasn't been good, but even in her losses in more recent times, she's always been competitive. She's always nicked a set or two, and the crowd will be behind her. And Chizzy, he should win this. He really should, but you can't trust him, can you? You just can't trust him. I don't think he trusts himself. I think he expect to win it and he'll get on with it. And I don't think he'd be bothered about the crowd. I mean, he's played in hostile crowds all over the place. As he was telling me, played it Germany against Germans when the whole crowd's booing and whistling you and stuff. So I don't think that bothers him. It's all about how he plays. But I do think Fallon raises a game here. Dave's not been the most reliable type recently. I think you've got to have a point on Fallon Sherrock at 4-1. She's big enough to pay to just have it on side, isn't she? That's with BetMGM. The exchanges are over 4-1. So I'd be just having a point on Fallon here just to make it competitive. And I think you could probably have another point on her on the plus 1.5 handicap, so to get 2 sets at 5-2. And that is available with, let me just confirm. BetMGM, Live Score, Bet, Virgin, etc. All the Canby books are 5-2 on Fallon to get 2 sets. That's the way I'd play it personally. I expect Chizzy to win, but I think at the prices, there's enough reason to sort of want to be with the dog here. 2 games to go then. Michael van Gerwen versus Mitsuhiko Tatsunami. This is going to be a game that I'm very invested in, but I won't be putting a bet up on the YouTube. On a personal note, I backed Tatsunami. Well, I backed Van Gerwen 3-1 and Van Gerwen 3-2 last week. I backed Van Gerwen 3-1 at 28-1. That is now 5-1. I backed Van Gerwen 3-2 at 66s, and that's now 25s. Basically, just backing Tatsunami to win a set or make it competitive. Now, Van Gerwen is probably not the man you want to be taking on in these kind of markets, to be fair. He's very reliable at hitting the ground running. He doesn't normally mess around in his early rounds. But there are some times in history where a completely unfancied outsider has taken sets off him. Rene Idams springs to mind when he was in the peak of his powers and gave him a hell of a game. So it can happen. And I think Tatsunami has shown himself capable of stringing 3 legs together potentially. Now, he's going to need some favours from Van Gerwen, no doubt about that. But I just thought the prices were way off at the time and sort of been proved right there, I suppose. But it's one thing getting the price. He's now got to go and win it, hasn't he? But or win a set. But yeah, you would expect no problems for Van Gerwen here. Like 1-7 to win this 3-0. It's not my kind of party. Well, there's 2-7 available, to be fair, so that's probably on the skinny side. But yeah, it's not my kind of party. But look, I'll be honest, my tournament match bets have been pretty mediocre. The bets that have saved me are the ones I got on pre-tournament. Zhong to win a set against Obi, 9-1. Reyes to win a set against Van Veen, just under 4-1. Labanowski's to win a set against Littler was very unlucky at 9-1 as well. So playing these kind of angles have worked. This is the one that could have the biggest reward for me if it comes off. So no bet in terms of a YouTube P&L, but I'll be cheering on Tatsunami to nick a set. Last game of the night is Krzysztof Ratajski versus Alexis Toylo. Again, one where I just want to be with the underdog for a small stake. Going to take a point on Toylo at 9-2, and I'm going to take a point on him on the plus 1.5 handicap, if I can find the handicaps. Yeah, 9-4 to win 2 sets, and that is available with BetMGM, Live Score, etc. There can be books. I just want to be with the dog here again. Toylo, I think he's shown us enough now, hasn't he, on TV? He's shown that he can handle it. Really good at the Grand Slam. If you haven't seen Toylo play before, very, very slow, like painfully slow, to the point where he really irritated Stephen Bunting. I think Bunting was more irritated because he lost the game 5-4 from a commanding position, but still irritated Bunting with his speed of play. But he can hit trebles and he can finish. He's a good player. He won the Asian Tour, for goodness sake, last year. He's a very good player. Now, we played Krzysztof Ratajski here. These two actually met in round 1 last year. Ratajski dealt with him. So I'm guessing that the markets took a strong stance on Ratajski because they've met before. There's data on it. Ratajski knows about the speed. He's shown he can handle it, etc. So it nullifies a lot of the concerns around somebody playing Toylo that you would normally have. But I do think that the market went too far. I think this 9-2, which is still available with 10, but I have checked before recording. And, I think 4-1 is absolutely fine with Ladbrokes and Coral as well. But I do think they went too far here with Toylo. Like, he should never be 4-1 here against the sort of middling PDC player that Ratajski is. I think if Toylo came over to the UK and won a 2 card, he'd probably establish himself somewhere around 40th in the world. Ratajski's 25th-ish? So I don't think I think this gap is too big. So you want to be with the underdog here. So I'll take a point at 92 with 10 bet, and then a point on him on the plus 1.5 sets, which was 5-2 with live score. Sorry, 9-4 with live score, Virgin, BetMGM, etc. Any of them can be sports books. Are 9-4 on Toylo to win a couple of sets. Okay, so quite a busy day of betting action for me. Let's hope some better luck. In terms of the official YouTube selections, just to recap then, Callan Rydz to win 3-0 against Patrick Kovacs, which is effectively even money with Betfred. Going to back Sakai 7-4 to beat Tricole, which is available in various books. No bets in Joyce Bates or Dodeka versus Munyua. I'm going to have a point on Dominik Gruellich to beat Jermaine Wattimena at 5-1. A half point and 1.5 points on him to win a couple of sets at 5-2. Same applies for Chizzy Sherrock. I'm just going to back Sherrock for a point and Sherrock on the plus 1.5 sets. And same for Ratajski and Toylo. I'm going to back Toylo to win and on the plus 1.5 sets handicap as well. So I'll confirm all the staking plan as usual in the comments below, in the description below. Do give me a thumb up if you've enjoyed the videos, and please do hit subscribe. I had a lot of new subscribers during the tournament, which is massively appreciated. I know the results haven't always been as good as I'd like them to be, but hopefully you're enjoying the videos and the summaries. And hope everyone enjoys the action on Thursday. Sorry, just got thrown off by my clock ticking over to Thursday now. I hope everyone enjoys the Thursday action. I'll be back to preview Friday's final set of round 1 games. See you then.